Ready when you are.
Okay. So when I first knew that I was going to be talking at graduation, I struggled a little bit. First off, because I felt a little guilty that I couldn't remember everything I was supposed to have learned in the past 4 years. Like, I couldn't tell you the phylums for zoology. I couldn't tell you all of the literary characters I've come into contact with. And then I started thinking to myself, how am I going to do justice to thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours of class time, and days worth of testing in just a matter of a few minutes? And then I also wondered, what am I going to wear? I finally realized, and after quite a bit of deliberation too, like it took me a week to actually write a speech, and then I had a speech written, and then I turned around and completely changed it just the other day. So I struggled a lot with it, and I finally decided just to be myself. And to be myself, I decided I'm going to think about the two things that I've learned in college, the two biggest discoveries for myself. And those two discoveries are Let It Go by Idina Menzel, hence the shirt. I don't have my Elsa dress yet. And identity. So for those of you who know me really well, you're like, well, of course she's talking about Frozen, she's obsessed with it. For those of you who don't know me quite as well, you might be wondering, why is she referencing a Disney song for college graduation? I mean, really, that's so immature. But I promise, there is something to it. I even made a list. There are correlations to it. I'm not crazy. So I came up with, first off, have y'all seen it? Have y'all, okay, good. Y'all have all seen it. So you know that Elsa starts off alone, by herself, very low confidence. And I relate that to college students first starting off, because we just got out of high school, and my goodness, if that isn't an attack on your confidence, I don't know what is. I mean, there's, raging hormones and cliques and all kinds of things to deal with. So, we struggled with that with high school and still didn't really find ourselves quite yet. Though I imagine there are some who have, but for the most part, not all students have. Anyway, we start off by ourselves in a new setting, low confidence, and it's kind of sad at first, a little frightening maybe. But it gives us the opportunity to find ourselves and to find our own willpower, because for the first time, we're on our own, and we have to start coming up with our own arguments about things. We can't just run to our parents for every little issue and ask, hey, Mom, Dad, what do I do about this? We have to actually start becoming adults, and we have to start finding our independence. And that's kind of what Elsa does in Let It Go. She starts realizing that she can be herself. Not that you couldn't be yourself with your parents before, but you're being challenged and pushed to be yourself more than ever in college. And you start to explore the world around you. And Elsa started doing the same. She started exploring her world, and she said, it's funny how some distance makes everything seem small. She was taking a step back and looking at things from a different perspective because she was by herself. And that's kind of what we do too. We have all this new information, all these classes, all these assignments, all these new people that we meet, all this new information that makes us look at the world in a different way. And it really becomes time for us to see what we can do, to test the limits and break through, because we're exploring and we're starting to find ourselves just as individuals. And then through that, we construct our own world, kind of like Elsa did with her own castle. Because she was starting to find her identity, she started building her own world. And that's kind of what we do too. We start realizing what we want to pursue in life. We start realizing the people that we want to spend our time with. We are making our own world, and especially since we're graduating, we are finding something completely different. We have to figure out, okay, how are we going to live in the world now? How are we going to build our own palaces? And by doing that, that's how we find our identity. We see in Let It Go how Elsa completely transforms. And I don't know about y'all, but I've kind of done that in my college experience, because I've finally found confidence in my own identity, and that is an amazing thing. I have completely changed my way of thinking, for one thing. I can't even begin to explain all the different changes, because of all the friends I've had, all the professors, all the classes, all the things that have given me new insight into life. My way of thinking is completely different now. Y'all have had life and leadership, I assume, right? So y'all have taken the Myers-Briggs test? Okay, so I did that too as a freshman, and recently I went back and I took it again, and I had something completely different. I process information in a completely different way. And that's what college has done for me. And I think that's the goal of any college institution, is to completely transform how you look at the world. And if you've done college right, that's what has happened. And that's what we are here to celebrate today. We can finally stand and look at this crazy, unpredictable world and say, you know what? Here I stand in the light of day. Let the storm rage on. Never bothered me anyway. And we can finally embrace ourselves.